Good morning. Today we're looking at adding linear expressions using algebra tiles. So we're going to be getting out our algebra tiles. Hopefully everybody has a set on their desks. And if you're at home, I posted a PDF that's like a printable version that you can print and cut out, or you can just sketch them kind of like how I do with your pencil and kind of just imagine the algebra tiles. So sorry about that if you're not here, but that's what we're doing today. So adding linear expressions using algebra tiles. So we'll go ahead and jump right in here. So just a little algebra tile review. What do each of these pieces mean? So just take 1 second and think about what each of those pieces mean. Ready, set, go. All right, hopefully you're able to give an idea. So they kind of tell you also looking at the piece, but the little yellow guy means just a value of 1. If we have 2 little yellow guys, means 2. When they're red on the negative side, it just means they're negative. So this one's a value of -1. Our big rectangle pieces are our variables. So we usually use X to represent a variable, but it could be any variable, okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to be X. This one would be positive, and then this one would just be our negative variable. So same thing, right? It doesn't have to be X, it can be any variable. Same rules apply, so it's still going to be positive or negative if it's on its green side or red side negative. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on, and we're looking at some examples here. So we'll practice a few examples using our algebra tiles. So please follow along using your algebra tiles and writing these down in your notebooks. Okay, so 2 things you're doing. So you're going to write down the problems in your notebook and then follow along and move your algebra tiles with me. All right, so I'll give you a second just to copy down these 2 questions. Ready, set, go. Okay, so our first example we're doing here is 2x plus 1 plus 3x plus 2. And then our second one is y minus 2 plus 2y minus 1. So first, let's go ahead and look. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my algebra tiles here so that we can set them up first. So I have some kind of on my page here, so we're setting up 2x plus 1. So first we need 2 positive x's. So I'm going to set up my problem down here. My extra ones can just be down here. So we need 2 positive x's, 2x plus 1. So we just need one of these little guys. And then we're going to have 3x. So now I need 3 positive x's. So again, just pull these over. And then plus 2. So I'm going to need 2 yellows. Okay, these ones we're not using, so they're down on the bottom. So we have 2x plus 1 and 3x plus 2. Each of those is kind of represented by our algebra tiles here. Now, when we're adding together our 2 expressions, it's the same thing as kind of just combining all our like terms. So a lot of what we're doing is very similar to what we've been practicing with combining like terms. So we can move around our terms so that we have like terms together. We know our x's are all like terms, so I'm going to match up all my x's together. So I'm going to put all these guys over here, and then I'm going to match up all my 1's. And at this point, this is where we'd look for any 0 pairs. Remember, 1 positive and 1 negative tile of the same shape equal a 0 pair. In this case, we don't have any 0 pairs, so I just count up what I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's, and I have 3 1's. So back to my problem. 2x and 3x gave us 5x, right? We said we had 5 x's, and we had 3 1's, so plus 3. So we can easily combine those like terms and simplify that expression by just moving around our algebra tiles and moving them all together. So 2 and 3 gave us 5, right? We can see if we combine those terms, 2 plus 3 does give us 5, and 1 and 2 add together to make 3. Okay, so again, please write this down on your paper. Make sure you're writing down your notes. Okay, moving on to question number 2. So we have y minus 2 plus 2y minus 1. So again, I'll head over to my algebra tiles to set that up. Okay, so remember, the big guys, right, we use x to represent them, but they can be any variable. So in this case, we're using y's, which is fine. So I'm just going to move my tiles down here so they're out of the way. Okay, so my first expression is y, so I'm going to use that one, minus 2. So that means I need 2 negatives. So y minus 2. Then, just get these out of the way here, we have 2y minus 1. So I need 2 y's, or these x's, right? And then minus 1, so another negative over here. Okay, so I have set up my expression here. So each of these, right, x, this one was y, and this was our minus 2, this is our 2y, and this is our minus 1. So we can see we kind of have each part of our expression there. Okay, so now we can move around our tiles, match up our like terms. So we have an x, and another x, and another x, actually y's, right? So we are going to have 3 y's, and then we bring all our 1's together, so we have 3 negatives. Again, we'd look for 0 pairs. I don't see any 0 pairs here, right? We don't have any positive and negatives of the same shape. So this is going to be our whole expression here, right? This is our answer. So we have 3 x's, or 3 y's, right? So we have 3 y's, and then 3 negatives, so minus 3. Remember, that's the minus negative situation, right? They mean the same thing. So 3y minus 3. So back to our problem here. Y and 2y made 3y, and then we said minus 3. Remember, we could also write this as 3y plus negative 3. Okay, those two mean the exact same thing. If we look at our tiles, it's kind of easier to tell that, right? So if we're adding these together, 3y, yep, and negative 3, we could either put minus 3 like that or plus negative 3. Either way kind of means the same thing. It really doesn't matter which way you like to write it. Okay, so both mean the same thing there. All right. So now you're going to go ahead and practice some of these on your own. So head down to this slide. You're going to have about 5 minutes to work through these problems. So go ahead and take a second, get your paper and pencil out, write down the 3 problems, then use your algebra tiles to set them up, move them around, and write your answers as well. Just one more reminder before I let you go to work. So if we had a negative and a positive, so just don't forget this is kind of tricky here. But if we had a positive and a negative of the same shape, so for example, this guy and this guy, we call that a 0 pair. It's a 0 pair because negative and positive 1 equals 0. So 0 pairs are allowed to just leave. We can just get rid of them, right? So when we see a 0 pair, we take that out. And the same thing applies if we have a negative and positive like this, right? That's also still a 0 pair. So that 0 pair can still just be taken out. Okay, so that 0 pair can leave and we don't have to worry about it anymore because it equals 0. Okay, so go ahead and get to work on these 3 problems. Ready, set, go.